Welcome everyone to Straight from the Paws. Today I have with me my co-host Beverly Andrade.
Hi everyone.
And our administrator Casey Fredette.
Hi.
Hi. And what we'd like to do today is we'd like to talk to you about our upcoming fundraising. People say, gee, I see it in the paper all the time, the Herald News or on your Facebook, you've got fundraiser after fundraiser after fundraiser. And we say yes, and believe me, it's not an easy task. And we don't have the fundraisers where we bring in $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. We don't have a capital fundraiser, which we may have in the future, for our mortgage. We need people to understand why we have the fundraisers and how we select them. So Casey's going to sort of take a different role on. We're going to sort of give questions to Bev today, since she's our treasurer, and also she's the co-advisor, well, I couldn't say advisor, I'd say co-chair of practically all the fundraising. So, Casey, you want to start?
Sure, I'd love to. So, for me personally, and the average person is a lot different. I've been a nonprofit basically my entire adult life. I've been to a lot of nonprofit events. People in the general public may go to some here or there. The events that we have for fundraising, they are almost monthly. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in order to do that, how often and how big of a committee are you running?
Well, all of our committee are volunteers. Several of them are our board members. The rest of them are just friends in the community who are passionate about animals but can't be on a board and are interested in doing what we do. So we have a meeting approximately once a month. The meeting is held out of my home, and I have a big living room. And we try to make it fun, so we always have coffee, tea, and beverages, so we try to trick everybody into saying, wow, this is a lot of fun. But fundraising at Forever Paws is a source of income that generates approximately 1/3 of the money that we need to run the shelter. So without fundraising, we would be very short of funds. Please understand that our money comes in only by donations, our contract, and our adoptions. And on a previous show, we talked about the cost of an animal being in the shelter. So for us to be able to keep the standard that we have, where I like the building and the grounds to be nice when people come in, and that's a choice. So that choice costs money. We choose to do a lot of medical on our animals. That choice also costs money. And because we have 3 contracts, we chose to hire more staff. That staff costs money.
So, like you said, the costs that are related. I can speak to the fact that in the year previous from where we are now, we utilized 7 different veterinary hospitals and clinics. We operated 11 rabies clinics for the public throughout the year, and we used endless amounts of supplies. So in order to address that, we had some very large fundraisers, right?
We do.
So which are our biggest?
So it seems that the end of the year, so September through December, are our largest fundraisers. And there is a reason for that. One, it's the season that we picked to do the fundraisers. And second, it's a year of planning. So these fundraisers don't come together quickly. They take a long planning. For instance, the September fundraiser, which we call Celebration of Giving, we will be starting that in the end of the winter, the beginning of the spring, getting all the paperwork done, getting the phone calls done, getting the planning. It's almost a year's worth of planning. Some of the other fundraisers, the smaller ones, which I call anything under $5,000 is to me a small fundraiser. We can pull that together in 3 or 4 weeks. The majority of our fundraisers are ticket sellers. The majority, not all of them, but they're ticket sellers. So what's ended up happening is we've picked and choose the fundraisers that sell the easiest amount of tickets. An example, the clam boil sells out. We don't make a great deal of money on the clam boil, but people are calling all the time, can I get a clam boil ticket? Can I get a clam boil ticket? So those tickets will sell themselves. Another event, not a great fundraiser per money, but a great fundraiser for the community is called the Portuguese Kids. I don't think you've ever been to that one.
No, I'm new to the Portuguese experience.
The Portuguese experience in this area is hysterical. Everybody has a vovô. And the Portuguese Kids put on a fantastic show. Those tickets will sell themselves. We usually put that show on in January. It's not a large fundraiser where we make over $5,000. That's not the case. We do have to have the expenses that go with all of this stuff. We have venue expenses, we have food expenses, we have ticket expenses, we have products that we have to purchase for the events. So the expenses take away from a lot of the cost that we incur. So the end of the year are the biggest fundraisers, and that would be the Celebration of Giving in September and the Festival of Trees in November.
So the celebration of giving, obviously we celebrate giving.
Yes.
And we honor, through the Paws Humanitarian Award, we honor someone that has put a lot of effort, time, their life, etc., into animals in our shelter. But in addition to that, there's food.
Yes.
There's a silent auction.
Yes.
There's a 50-50 raffle,
No,
right?
no.
No.
It's a
Not
book
that one.
raffle.
Oh, a book raffle.
A
I'm
book
sorry.
raffle.
See,
Yep.
this is why I'm asking. The book raffle and a meal.
And a meal, correct.
And we get to hear Gail yell at the crowd, right?
That's right. We
So,
always have Gail yelling at the crowd.
That's a pretty full event.
And that starts in January. I have to say, that's an event where we have to pull all of those aspects together. So what you know, I think by now, is we shop local. We prefer to service and get our supplies from local. We don't go to the big box stores if we can't, if we don't have to. But sometimes you have to, as you know, for supplies like toilet paper and stuff. So we use a company called Modern Printing in Fall River, and we'll start calling them up, I believe, by March and order our raffle tickets. And those raffle tickets are put together by the classrooms up at Durfee High School. So that's no cost. They volunteer to do that for us. So we have to get that project started, because those tickets have to be all done and in the mail before June.
Right, because they have to get mailed out.
They have
right?
to get mailed out, and then that's a big project unto itself.
I'd like to interject something too, and just think about, sometimes I think of, I always call Forever Paws as a team, but we also have a lot of members of our team. And one of the facts is that Casey's wife, Tiffany, she helps put our program booklet
We
together.
hired Tiffany.
You
No,
know,
we hired
we
Casey,
hired-
we got Tiffany.
We got her free.
Right, we got
Buy
her
one,
free.
get one.
We'll buy her a sweatshirt.
Yeah, and, it's amazing because, the program booklet, some people were like, oh, well, we generate some money with that. So if you have a business and you want to be in our program booklet, just give us a call. The number will be out there on the screen, 508-678-0804.
No, that's, for
all
Lorraine,
our
that's
fundraising.
for fundraising,
That's where
yes.
you get in touch with us. We have businesses that we'd be willing to, that we ask business, obviously, that we did work with, but also businesses that anyone wants to advertise in our booklet. She's done a great job for us and helped us put it together. She has done a lot of our publicity for us now. And again, we have a lot of, as we call, free labor.
We do.
We have the free labor. So just as an example, I did the numbers for the year 2017. We ordered 88 boxes of gloves, just the regular gloves that you slip on and off. That's just under 9,000 gloves. And so to support that kind of quantity that we're buying, right now it's March. Our next event is the Spring Fling.
So, this is why I said 1/3 of the income of Forever Paws, the money that comes in, comes from fundraising. We have had large fundraisers that we've got rid of. We've had small fundraisers that we've got rid of. So what's left of the 12, I think there's 12 fundraisers a year, these are the ones that work. They fall into place. So the Spring Fling, which I believe has an April date.
April 8th.
It's April 8th. This year, it got moved to Rachel's Lakesider in Dartmouth. The reason being, we've outgrown the previous venue. We needed to have more parking, we needed to have more space. So this event is also going to involve Tiffany making a little booklet for us again. But this event is not a big moneymaker.
But it's full of, as I understand it, vendors.
The vendors, so we already started this. We started this in January of 2018. We have names from the past. We have new people that came on board to our fundraising committee, our board, or our staff that say, oh, my sister, my brother, my niece, they sell this, they sell that. So give them my number, have them call me. So all of those vendors started to be contacted in January of this year. And either they say yes, they want to do it, they say no, they don't want to do it. We charge only for the table that they're going to have. We don't charge for a product. We don't get a product from them. So if your wife was selling Avon and she was willing to purchase a table for $40, she could come to our event and she could sell her Avon at our Spring Fling.
And then as a member of the public, I can come to Rachel's and I can get a massage.
Oh, yes.
I can get my fortune told.
Well, not quite
that
your
kind of
fortune.
thing.
Yes. So the Spring Fling
all
is
sorts.
another way to call it is a psychic fair. We could call it a psychic fair, but the Spring Fling name came because we wanted to get out of the winter. And originally we called it a ladies' Spring Fling, and then we found we had just as many men coming as the ladies. So we just changed it to Spring Fling because
We call it Spring Fling and Wellness.
we're calling it Spring Fling and Wellness Fair because anybody that comes can get a massage. They can have Reiki, they can have polarity, cranial sacral massage, they can have a chair massage, they can have cards read, angel card, tarot card. There's so many different options. And the way we push that to get that to be a fundraiser is you will pay for a 10-minute reading. You'll pay $10 for a 10-minute reading. If you want a longer reading, you could pay $20 for a 20-minute reading. And then all of the people that come, the service providers, they bring their business cards, their flyers, their brochures. So if you're really interested and you would like someone to give you your future for an hour, you could go to them at their business place and get your whole future read to you if that's something that you would believe in. But it's very interesting. Even a non-believer can come to these things.
Pampering is universal.
Pampering is universal.
That makes sense. I also understand it that we have new events this year.
We do. We have a wonderful, which I'm so excited about, May 6th. It's called Glitz, Glamour, and Paws. We are having a fashion show, and it's being sponsored by Potty Dress Express.
Yes, the
Venus.
sisters at Potty
Yep.
Dress Express had reached out to us and asked us if we were interested. This venue is going to be at the Venus de Milo in May. And good news, folks out there will be dogs in the fashion show. Some may be owned dogs, some may be our service dogs from our community outreach program, and some might actually be shelter dogs. And if we still had the little chinchilla, maybe the chinchilla could be in the fashion show.
I'm glad you clarified when you said there were going to be dogs in the fashion show that you didn't mean me
No,
in a dress.
there are no men.
So that's
No.
good.
I'd like to explain that this fashion show is all about proms, first communions, weddings, nightlife, attire, and that's the kind of fashion show this is going to be. And the event is in May, so we know that a lot of weddings would be in June. It would be too late for them to get their bridal outfit, but this would be for them to purchase for the following year. The same thing with First Communions. Most First Communions are held in May. So even though we will be modeling First Communion dresses with the children that are going to be in the fashion show, that would be for the families for next year.
These are events that get planned ahead for.
Planned ahead,
Right,
right.
and also we may also have some more vendors there. We haven't discussed that yet with the ladies from Dress Express. We're going to talk to them, actually we're meeting with them tomorrow, and we'll sort of talk to them and see if we can get some other people to come in and have something. In the past, when we had fashion shows many years ago, we would have people selling jewelry and pocketbooks and so on. So that's a new one that's come back, and people have really enjoyed it, and they get a brunch with it. So it's $35 a ticket.
That's great.
And you get a brunch and probably tables of 10. I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but people could purchase a table and for a business or something like that. So that's a new one which we're really excited about. And one of the others that we're really excited about that always happens in June, the last several years, New Boston Bakery. I don't know if you've ever made that one. Paws for
I've
brunch.
not made it, but I've eaten plenty of their goods.
Yeah, Paws for
So
brunch.
yes, the New Boston Bakery is always a wonderful event. Mr. Jimmy Souza, who owns the bakery, loves doing this event for us. He thinks it's fantastic because it's a garden event. The only problem is we have limited number of tickets on this event, so they sell out fast. We're thinking the event is June 10th this year, and we try to keep the price the same. You notice most of our prices never change. We keep it the same all the time.
And you say we're aiming for June 10th, but obviously we have a very active Facebook.
Yes.
If you follow Forever Paws on Facebook, we have the events made on our Facebook page. So if there's any question about date or time, absolutely can go to our Facebook page and check our events section.
And I would suggest to people for the clam boil, I've already had a lady already called me and say to me, I missed out last year. Can you keep my name on the list? And I said, I will. And then I ran into her at the Festival of Trees, and she said, I know. I said, I know your name. You already told me you want 4 tickets. She goes, right. So as soon as I got the date set, I called her and I said, guess what? I'm calling you about the fundraiser. And I said, I'll put you the first 4 tickets sold. So the clam boil sells itself. People really enjoy those clam boils. It's at the Seacon Gun Club, South Seacon Gun Club. Everybody loves it. It's an all-you-can-eat. Admission is $30, and it's in Rehoboth. So it's not that far, and people, like I say, come in and they want it. And it's we have seating plans so that people, we have enough seats for everybody in there. It's a really quick turnaround, and it's enjoyable.
So that's what struck me, really, is, like I said at the opening, I've been around nonprofit a lot. I've been to a lot of dinners. I've been to a lot of restaurants kicking back 10% of their sales. I've been through a lot of the standard, generic fundraisers. I'm also not from this area, so this clam boil business was eye-opening. But it's a huge variety through the course of the year. It does take some of the standards, like one of our events that I'm going to mention in a moment, and I've noticed either they're done to an extreme or totally different and inventive. So we have a silent auction, but instead of just standing there walking around, you get dinner, you get to honor someone's work. You get to hear, like I said,
You get to buy raffle
Gail,
tickets.
you get to you get a lot out of the event as opposed to just standing around waiting and trying to outbid your neighbor on that.
Plus they get crackers and cheese in
Yes,
that
the
room.
crackers and cheese.
Let's not forget
it's
that.
It's a whole thing. But the Festival of Trees, that is, I am a little bit of a Grinch. I don't actually personally have a Christmas tree ever or any of that, but the Festival of Trees, it's an enormous event. It feels like December 26th, the planning for the next year's Festival of Trees is underway.
Yeah.
So if you can talk about how much work, how many trees, and how we've had to adjust to accommodate it for such a successful fun, even for the biggest Grinch out there, a fun event.
I know, you did have a good time this year, didn't you?
It's a little dizzying. There's a lot of bright lights and people.
So we started the Festival of Trees in the year 2006. Our previous board member started it. We'd had no clue what this was all about. She kept telling us that we're going to get trees, we're going to get trees. We didn't have a clue what this was. So our first event that we held in 2006 only made, believe it or not, $2,500. And that's, for us in 2006, that was a lot of money. And this year we went off the charts in the thousands of dollars on the Festival of Trees. So this event has become a community event. I noticed that the city of Fall River even took the name Festival of Trees, and they have an event in the city hall following ours. So our event has grown over the years. Thankfully, our committee, at the end of an event, we have a portion where we have pros and cons, what worked, what didn't. And that's how the event has grown to be so successful. We figured out all the errors from one year to the next, and we'll correct an error, and next year there's another one, we correct that. This event, the populace has loved it. Businesses have called us to decorate trees. So to tell the audience how we do this, we start very early, the day after Christmas to be exact. Some board members, myself, Gail, and a couple of others, we were going around to the stores where we buy the trees, and we were picking them up at 50%, because everything went 50% the day after Christmas. And we purchased trees. We have a Chevy Blazer. One day, my granddaughter was in the car. She was buried under the trees. She was about 5 years old at the time. We just loaded up the Blazer and loaded it up until we had no room for her, so we had to put trees on top of her. She laughed. She thought it was hysterical. So now the stores call us, and they tell us that the trees are going on sale before Christmas. So we load up the Blazer. I can't get rid of the Blazer. I know you want it, but I can't get rid of the Blazer because we put all the trees in it. So we get, the trees are stored in my garage. They're stored in the loft of my garage. And I think currently, Gail, there's about 160 trees in the loft.
Approximately, yep.
About 160 trees, and we just keep adding to it. We give away the trees to anybody that is willing to do a tree. So if you want to do a tree this year, you call 508-67-80804. We'll give you a tree. We start passing the trees out, believe it or not, in August.
Yeah, no, I know.
So the trees get moved around, the paperwork gets started, everything gets started in the summertime for the trees. And we do accept people calling us almost a week before the event saying, I want to do a tree. People don't think about Christmas in August, but
No.
we do.
Yeah.
You know, we do. So I have to say that this event has blown the charts off financially. The cost is minimal because everybody else is decorating a tree. We pay for the venue, which is always moderate. This year, as everyone that is listening to me will be aware of or already knows, we held it at White's Lakeside, White's Westport. And we're getting a bigger room next year, believe it or not. We had the grand ballroom, and we were overcrowded in the grand ballroom, as you know. So we're going into the largest room they have there. And we had 70 trees counted this year. And we're going to try to bring that up to, what did we say, Gail, 85 to
85
90?
to 90 if we can.
If we can. We're going to try to keep it at this one venue this year because it's a lot of work having two enormous fundraisers back to back like that. So we're going to consolidate into one event.
Well, and also to set the stage a little more, when you say you have all these trees, 80 trees, when you arrive at this event, there are 80 decorated trees set up on tables, decorated with Barbies, wine, nips, lottery tickets, electronics, gift certificates, but each tree is individually set up with all of these things you win along with each tree. And so you don't pay an entry fee, as I understand
Correct.
it, but you go in and you buy
Tickets.
the tickets.
So we don't change the prices. You buy raffle tickets. And on the raffle tickets, you purchase them, you put them in a gift bag in front of each of the trees, and then we just draw a winner from all the gift bags. It's a raffle, so basically the trees are raffled off. They're not purchased. We thought of having them purchased, but then that kind of diminishes the fun and the surprise.
And it's a lot of fun. It really is. I know I have children, and they just think it's the highlight of the month, running around to all of these different trees set up in this giant room and putting the tickets in and arguing about which tree, the Hot Wheels tree versus the Shopkins tree. There was this past year an entire wine tree that also included a buffet table that was a wine table.
Correct.
So it's all sorts of things you can win.
Well, I think what's happened along the years, this event has grown, obviously, by leaps and bounds. And we're finding that the people who are decorating the tree are in competition. They want to have the best tree, or they want the tree to make the most money. Well, we count the money. I have to say, Gail used to count the tickets in the bags. Some tickets had over $1,000 in a bag. That would 1,000 tickets in a bag, counting each ticket as $1. That meant that tree earned $1,000 to get that tree up. So it is a great fundraiser. It's also the most work for the committee. A lot of the work is getting the trees there, as you noticed, and
Yep.
getting them set up. and the time element that we have to do that, because we can't get into the venue till 9 o'clock in the morning, and the doors are open at 11:30. So you have from 9 to 11:30 to get that room like you saw it.
And like we said, it's a massive event. The first year I had gone, trying to find somewhere to park was impossible. It was a long walk in the rain. This previous year, with the upgrade to white, space-wise, there was more room to park, but I also know that when I went to leave, there was a line to get into the room.
There was.
Of people they were queued up in a line through the entry and out into the hallway in order to buy tickets.
I know, it was amazing. I couldn't believe my eyes. I really couldn't. And we had 6 cashiers.
Yes.
And I have to say, thanks to Casey, we went quicker because we got PayPal. Once I learned the passwords.
We're always trying to push forward, and I think it's pretty clear that the only way, or one third of the way that we're able to push forward is with the fundraisers.
Yes.
Because without these, we're not subsidized. We have our adoptions, we have our contracts, but we have to rely on this pretty heavily.
And it's the fall, and as Casey will attest to, by the end of July, the beginning of August, it's like, Casey, don't spend any money.
Yes, yeah.
I gave him a flow chart to see that.
Beverly, I've noticed she likes to assume the worst is going to happen.
Yes.
Which I must say is something you really want in your treasurer. It sounds like I'm making fun. But
I know I'm obsessive. I watch that money all the time.
Well, this past year, I can tell you for a fact, we traveled in our van. We traveled 10,200 miles. Between vet visits, special trips to help
That's
animals.
why I like that logbook that's in the van.
We did 10,000 miles, and that means gas to cover 10,000 miles. That means insurance. That means staffing power that was in the vehicle at that time. That means upkeep, cleaning. So every part of what we do at the shelter costs.
Every part.
Everything.
And that's what I watch daily.
This costs, we went through 38 orders of ink last year. Each thing of ink does about 2,000 to 3,000 pages. Everything's costing. So you're using the creativity to try and offset that so people actually have a good time in addition to helping a good cause.
I'd like to put 2 comments in. One is that we do everything, like you say, in-house. With the help of your wife, especially for the programs and so on, that's been very helpful.
We never
Even
pay
our
for
tickets,
programs.
our tickets and all that, they go. We do get the program from Modern Printed,
they
but
staple it
she
and
puts it all
print it,
together
yeah.
for us, which is fantastic. And I also want to put out a shout out to Red Velvet Florist. They're the ones that come in that morning and they help us,
Oh
and
my
the people
God,
that are there
yes.
set up the trees. They give us, they put it in. They look at it from their designer eyes and say, this is what it should be. So I think that's really important. I hate to say this, but we're running out of time.
Oh my
Believe it or not,
gosh, I
I know.
can't believe it.
I know. We thought we
didn't know
didn't
you
have
could
enough
talk.
to say. Oh, yeah, you didn't know she could talk. That's funny. But I think that people, again, the number 508-678-0804. If you want to get in our program booklet, we have different prices for different pages and sizes and so on.
Tickets.
If you want to get tickets for the clam boil ahead of time, for all our fundraisers that are coming up, especially the fashion show. We may even have Casey's wife doing modeling. We get our own models. We would appreciate any help that you can give us because we do need the help. 1/3 of our money comes from all our fundraisers. Now you understand why. Thank you.